What's up, people? Today we are here in Destiny. Now, I have a fun build I want to show off right before the new Ash and Iron update comes out. Basically, in the Ash and Iron update, Bungie stated that they will be buffing Warlocks to a pretty sizable level. So the two main buffs I want to focus on, there are obviously a lot more buffs, but the two main things I want to focus on are the Empowering Rift and the buddy abilities that you have on the Warlock subclass. I'm talking Child of the Old Gods, as you see here. For Solar, it would be Helion. For Arc, it would be the Arc Soul and the Ionic Sentry. The Bleak Watcher Turret is another one. Basically, any of the buddies that you can summon in battle. Specifically today, we're talking about this build I have right here, which uses the Briarbinds and the Child of the Old Gods, because there is some interesting synergies I think can happen when you combine all of these separate things. So let's go over the buffs first. Essentially, for the Empowering Rift, as it stands right now, all the Empowering Rift does is it just increases your weapon damage. Kind of useless when you think about it, especially useless when you consider how easy it is nowadays to get other better damage buffs. But the new Empowering Rift will make it so it'll generate neutral game ability energy over time. Meaning, while standing in an Empowering Rift, you gain grenade energy, melee energy, and class ability energy, which is really, really good. On top of that, it'll also make it so kills while standing in your Empowering Rift give you bonus ammo progress, which is just really helpful, essentially. It basically makes it so as long as you're standing in the Rift, you can fund your ability energy and you can fund your ammo, making it easier to generate everything. It's a very, very helpful, like, neutral game ability now instead of just buffing your damage, which it can be done by anything. That's really good. Now, the buff to Child of the Old Gods, which I think is honestly the bigger buff, and not just Child of the Old Gods, but any of the buddy abilities, these are now tied to grenade stats and perks, meaning they are basically counted as your grenade. So it will be it'll be directly buffed by your grenade stat, meaning this 48% damage buff you see in PvP or PvE, that'll go to the Child of the Old Gods, which is really, really good, especially when you combine it with Briarbinds. Briarbinds is a pretty old exotic. It came out, like, I think 7 months ago. I don't remember, but basically it makes it so your Void Souls, Child of the Old Gods, have longer duration. They also gain escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets. You can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting with them, allowing them to be redeployed. Basically, these make it so whenever your Void Soul gets a kill, it'll increase its damage. And because now your Void Soul is tied to your grenade stat, it'll increase its damage even further on top of what it was already doing. And also, Child of the Old Gods has a very, very specific trait. This second perk right here. When a target is being drained, you are granted grenade and melee energy if running Healing Rift, or health if running Empowering Rift. Basically, when you run Healing Rift with the Child of the Old Gods, it buffs your grenade and melee energy. If you run Empowering Rift, it heals you. Meaning, if you use Child of the Old Gods, you can kind of get both rifts at the same time, because now the Empowering Rift will make it so it already buffs your grenade and melee energy along with your class ability energy. And then since we're using Child of the Old Gods, it'll also heal me. So you get both rifts while only using one. And it's really good. And it honestly makes it so you kind of might not need Devour. Obviously, using Devour is really good. It makes it so you can heal on every kill, and it'll also restore your grenade energy. Extremely good. But you might be able to run Chaos Accelerant depending on how much you can have your rift up. Obviously, we don't know the exact numbers on how much ability energy the Empowering Rift can give you with this new update, but we'll have to find out and see. I think you could potentially run Chaos Accelerant. For here, I just have, Devour, because Devour is always good and it buffs your grenade energy. It's good. But I do think there is a play for running Empowering Rift and Chaos Accelerant. So then you can just fund your grenade, fund your melee, fund your class ability energy with your class ability. Child of the Old Gods will heal you, and you won't even have to worry about having Devour. And then if you really need Devour, there is always this mod right, or this fragment right here, Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or Orb of Power grants Devour. Really good. So basically, yeah, for this build, I just decided to go as heavy as I can into grenade energy because you want the most damage as possible, obviously. So I'm running a 175 stat grenade stat along with 2 grenade funds, which will give you 40 extra grenade stat. So it's a little overcap, but I wanted to make sure I can get to 200 grenade stat very easily. And this, you can do it pretty easily. Here are the mods, as you can see here. Basically, everything is funding into ability. You do not need to worry about health with this build because you just have Devour. Devour is by far the best subclass perk in the game. It makes it so you don't need to worry about healing at all, which is why you are running the Empowering Rift, because now you can just focus on building up as much ability energy as possible. We are running this Lionfish because another thing that's happening in this Ashen Iron update is that they're nerfing Temporal Blast, meaning it'll do a lot less damage and it won't charge faster on splash damage. So I just decided, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to start using something other than Temporal Blast. So for this, we're rocking Temporal Loader, which makes it so whenever a target is slowed, frozen, or suspended, you can reload ammo into your gun. Since I'm using it with Chill Clip, I'll basically always be reloading ammo. We're using this Fortunate Star bow because obviously you want the destabilizing rounds to make things volatile. Tractor Cannon is becoming the new featured weapon in Ashen Iron. Is one of the new featured weapons in Ashen Iron. So this will be a really good way to also cause basically all 3 void debuffs. Your Child of the Old God will weaken, your bow will cause volatile, and your Tractor Cannon will suppress things. Basically, you can start just spamming void debuffs all over the place. You'll always be able to get your Rift back, because another thing Child of the Old Gods does is whenever you defeat a target that's being drained, you get class ability energy. And because you'll be spawning multiple Void Souls, everything will be getting drained. You'll be constantly funneling class ability energy, constantly funneling health and all of this. You basically never run out of energy on anything. And because you're standing in the Rift, you also are able to gain more ammo. And I've also thought about, hang on, let me pull it out of my vaults. I also thought about pairing this entire setup with this perk right here, Impromptu Ammunition. Basically, Impromptu Ammunition makes it so whenever you get a kill, it increases your ammo generation for all sources. Basically meaning whenever you activate Impromptu Ammunition while standing in your Rift, because your Rift now makes it so you generate more ammo, Impromptu Ammunition will stack with your Rift. You will never run out of ammo if you're using Impromptu Ammunition. And because this bow still also has destabilizing rounds, you can still get the volatile effect. Not this bow, this bow. I've just been thinking so much about how well Briarbinds and Child of the Old God stack together, on top of the Empowering Rift buffs, on top of them tying Briarbinds to the grenade stat. But they also didn't just tie it to the grenade stat, they tied it to grenade perks. So perks like Demolitionist, perks like Adrenaline Junkie, those will also work with Briarbinds, basically meaning if you're using a weapon with Demolitionist and you get a kill with the Child of the Old Gods, it'll reload your weapon because now your Child of the Old Gods or your Void Soul counts as a grenade ability. Or if you're using a weapon with Adrenaline Junkie and your Briarbinds gets a kill, you instantly get a 33% damage bonus for basically just putting down your Rift and shooting once. You don't have to throw your grenade, you don't have to do anything, you just put down your Rift, you shoot out your Void Soul, and you get so many benefits just by putting down your Rift. I absolutely love what they did to my boy Warlock. I don't know what the hell they're doing for Titans and Hunters, but what they're doing to Warlock, making it so you tie the buddy system to your grenade stat, is so wonderful. Especially since your grenade stat was already the most important stat on a Warlock. And if we're being honest, your grenades are probably your strongest thing on Warlocks. Everybody's already talking about Verity's Brow. Everybody's already talking about Starfire Protocol. So you can just add, you know, and speaking of actually for the Starfire Protocol build, it is so easy to add Helion to your Starfire Protocol build. You're already going for 200 grenade stats, so you can buff your fusion grenades as much as possible, and you're already using Phoenix Dive, so you can get the empowering buffs as much as possible. It is so easy to just throw a buddy onto your build and absolutely cook because your grenade set is already at 200. This is a phenomenal change, and I'll probably also make another build on Rhymecoat Raymond. This is by far my favorite Warlock exotic in the entire game right now, and I use it very, very frequently. And it's just because I love the Bleak Watcher turret, and this makes it so the Bleak Watcher turret is much better. And now, because it's tied to the grenade stat, your Bleak Watcher turret will be doing significantly more damage. This is a wonderful change. I thank you, Bungie. Thank you. I just wanted to talk about this build because I really, really think this build is going to absolutely cook in Ashen Iron. It's going to be extremely good, extremely viable. And yeah, I'll definitely make a RNG run with this build tomorrow once Ashen Iron comes out, and I will see how well these buffs have changed Warlock. I think they'll change him in a very positive way. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.